Coffee Hour. Welcome to Coffee with our morning host. We broadcast a host of programs like current topics, newspaper headlines, and music on Radio Sri Lanka. Tune in every weekday from 7 to 8 a.m.
We've got with us, we're honored actually to introduce a true leader and a motivator who's here, and he's been motivating from morning. And we've been having a nice discussion when we were off air, obviously. So he's been named as one of the top 25 influential leaders, and his career journey, including roles as CEO and chairman, has left a lasting impact. So he's not just a successful professional, he's an inspiration. Join us in welcoming Dr. Krishu Gomes.
Oh, thank you, Sharifa. Thank you for that short but very impressive introduction.
Thank you.
If it's me, I'm glad. Thank you.
It is you. So let's get into your success story. So can you please share some key insights or maybe strategies that have contributed to your success in various leadership roles, not one?
Right. No, I may have many, but I will, speak about the two that I have always believed in and worked on. One is I realized at a very, very young age that life is all about recognition. Recognition for who you are and for the performance you produce. I've been excelling in a few areas as a kid, during my school days, for which I started getting attraction, attention, love, admiration, all of that.
And you loved it.
And I loved it. And I thought, at that very tender age, that if I'm able to hold on to, that attraction, admiration, love, and affection, that's all about living. So when you are a toddler, when you are a kid, when you are a school-going, child, you are into many things. And as long as, you do well, you will have it. But you pass that age, you get into the competitive world, then you get to be a real performer to be able to, get that attention. So two different games that you go to play, but the fundamental remains the same, right? At whatever the age you are, you need to have recognition. Otherwise, I have no life. So I do everything possible, even to date, work 18 hours a day to engage in different, types of people, different categories of people. And I use all the talents and skills I have to do something good for the others, through that to get that recognition. And through recognition, the love. So that's one. Number two, while so-called inspirational leaders, speakers, gurus and all of them, will talk about smart work, being that, being this. The reality is that unless you are a hard worker, you will not be a performer. Forget it. Right? In the modern world, we get to see various nice, beautiful speeches, very impressive ones when you hear them, being made by this type of people, and people get misled. Finally, if you really see the people who have achieved success, done better than others, they have all done hard work. That is a reality that will remain in this world for
your sweat pays off
1,000 years to come. So hard work is sometimes misunderstood by our Sri Lankans. People think hard work is about, using your body and body only. It's not just your body. It's your brain as well. Now, I'll give you one example. I was at the Jawaharlal University to address one of their key activities. Just 10 days ago, it was last week actually. So I met this professor who heads the faculty, a business faculty. And he was telling me that he has to mark 1,100 papers. That being an exam. So, and that he has to do while teaching. And being the faculty head, he has to do admin work as well. So in a university, in a public environment, you know how difficult administration is. How difficult teaching university students is. On top of all that, he has to mark 1,100 papers. So that's hard work.
It is.
Right? He doesn't move his body when he marks, papers. But that's hard work. So that hard work is what I am talking about. So to summarize all that, it's working for recognition and working hard. Those are the two things that will make you win.
Exactly. So you earn what you do.
Exactly.
And you've also been attached to the Sri Lanka tourism industry.
Yes.
Now, given the current situation of the country, we are all expecting some income into the country. So
Sure.
where do you think we stand in terms of statistics and inflow?
Yeah, so in terms and performance, if you compare with last year, there is over 100% growth being recorded. Look at last 2 months, the month-on-month growth has been over 200%. So numbers are increasing. But is that enough? No, it's not enough. We need more and more. Our best year was 2018 when we had 2.3 million tourists visiting the country, where the country recorded a revenue of 4.3 billion. When I headed, unfortunately, country had to face the East attack, but we started off extremely well. We were almost, getting up to 3 million with the trend we got on to.
And then we also got a red warning that people shouldn't visit the country after.
Yeah, so with the East attack happening,
the East attack.
I mean, everyone is talking about the churches being attacked, and that's where the discussion is even happening now. But terrorists targeted the tourism sector. I mean, that's why they attacked 3 tourist hotels. 4th one they failed due to a technical issue. But if they succeeded in doing that, then it would have been much bigger devastation. But it was bad enough. 42 tourists died and over 340 got injured. And 42 died, representing 19 countries. So, biggest ever, worst ever terrorist attack on the tourism industry, if you look at, all the incidents that have happened across the world. But despite that, and then we had, no visitors coming in literally for 4 months. But good thing is that we recovered fully in 8 months. We started getting the same numbers, after 8 months with all the hard work we did. I remember visiting all the key markets and working, 20 hours. So it was hard work. Through that, we managed to, get the numbers back. We ended up at 1.9 and recorded a revenue of 3.9 billion. So this year, with the growth we are recording, we will get close to 3.5 billion. So we have a long way to go. The target we are chasing, I'm saying we are chasing because I'm back on the advisory board of Sri Lanka Tourism. We're chasing 2 million. We are hopeful that we'll be able to get 2 million, but come next year, it has to be nothing less than 3 million. And in terms of revenue, $7 billion. We very badly need it. And over the next 3 years, we should be able to go up to about 10 billion. But every single Sri Lankan has to understand the importance of tourism. Unfortunately, culturally, traditionally, there is a large percentage that oppose development of tourism, which is sad. They need to realize the negative consequences of, being negative on the progress of the industry.
Well, that's a little sad, but sometimes people do it unintentionally as well, not knowing the circumstances or consequences of doing so.
True.
And I think every Sri Lankan has a role to play in terms of bringing in people. And very recently, TikTok is a very influential platform, I'd say. So very recently I saw a video of a foreigner. I don't really know from which part of Sri Lanka, but then I just saw this video where she speaks to a vendor on the road, and he's like really old, like in his late 60s maybe. So he says, I can speak English, I want to say something to your people. And then he talks about the country saying there is no problem in Sri Lanka, you have to come. I mean, he's doing his part.
Sure. And we need more and more people, doing that. So there is awareness that that has to happen as well, because some of these people do not really realize the importance of the tourism industry, how that helps them at the end. So that communication hasn't, happened effectively. So awareness has to happen, but at the same time, people need to, use their brains also and keep supporting, because we say that we are a very hospitable country. So that's not something, that is technical. It's an emotion. The people of Sri Lanka, have to basically disseminate. So it has to be reflected, on your face, in your body language, and the way you, conduct yourself. And that's a very big brand attribute we've been talking about, and it has to get further strengthened, because while one time, we probably were the only country with that, authentic smile and, hospitable, nature, there are other countries that have, come up. And some of them are doing, much better than us.
They're just a smile away.
Yeah. So, I mean, even Sri Lankan Airlines, you will really see, one time we were known for our, friendly service and very emotional engagement with the passengers. But I'll tell you, having flown every single airline in the world, some other airlines are much better than us. So we need to, understand that, do something about it. I'm not, putting it across in a negative way. All I'm saying is, we have to progress.
That's the thing, because, I mean, like when I mentioned, every Sri Lankan, every citizen has a role to play, I think.
Exactly.
Indirectly or directly.
Sure.
They do have, they've got to build that impression in the country as well. So as the youngest Sri Lankan to hold the position of Managing Director, CEO at Chevron Lubricants Lanka PLC, tell us a little bit about the challenges you face.
Right.
And of course, it's not an easy role, I'd say.
Not at all. Yeah, no, that was a terrible experience to start with, because I was very young, and culturally, of course, we had the 4 foreigners working in the organization at that point of time, but there were very senior Sri Lankans who had been with the company, not under Caltex, but under the government entity. As everyone knows, this company was bought over, a public entity was bought over by this multinational. So people who had worked for the public entity were still with the company, and they couldn't basically, make up their mind to accept me as their leader.
Because of age?
Well, I mean, there are envious feelings, one can have as to, why this young brat, who doesn't understand anything, was
I think they
promoted.
Practice it still.
Yeah, they practice it too. They are very, very vocal about it also, which is a sad, state to be in. But then I started performing from day one, right? And that challenge was a good one, because if I didn't have that challenge, if I didn't see it, if that wasn't visible, I would not have had that aggression and innate capacity being tapped into to, get my best out. So I took it as a challenge, and I worked extremely hard, started performing much better than my predecessors. And then they had to, accept the fact that the decision taken by the global multinational CEO was a good one. And then beyond that, they had to simply started, supporting me, whether wholeheartedly or
not.
Whatever, I don't know, but it was hard work. It was extremely hard work, but I had given the fact that my appointment was, as the magazines and various other external stakeholders concluded, youngest Asian to head a truly multinational organization. That's the kind of title they gave me. So with that, I had global attention, I had regional attention, then I had local attention as well. So I had to, really sharpen myself, which I did.
All eyes were on you.
All
literally.
eyes were on me. So wherever I was, whatever I did, I had to make sure that, I excel, I make a mark, and I make a contribution, and I prove the point that I'm better than others. So that kept me going. And I have been that anyway. Even during my school days, and I, talked about my school days, but, while in school, I did 13 different co-curricular activities, including sports. I was, spending very little time in the class studying, spending, more time doing other activities. So I became a very confident individual, especially during my advanced level. So with that, I had that, gut and grit and the courage and determination, extreme power in me, which I really, utilized during this time.
And when it's challenged, it gets better.
It gets better. And then other than that, of course, from a business standpoint, there were humongous challenges as well. The market was opening up. Before that, it was a monopoly market. So I had to, be on my toes and get the team to perform as well. But I succeeded. I created many Sri Lankan records. At the end, we became the most profitable company. We became the number one company in terms of return on capital employed. We became the highest dividend payer in the market. It's a listed company, so that's why I'm just sharing, these significant milestones or achievements. So like that, and then, top 10 company in the world. And mind you, being an industrial brand, oil is not a consumer brand. People, don't care much about oil. They think about it only when they have to, change oil, but it's not a daily thing. But it became one of the super brands as well in a Sri Lankan context. So we were recognized as one of the super brands. So looking back, can be extremely happy that I did that. But I am having a bit of a mixed feeling, in the sense, the reason being that when I proved the point that Sri Lankans can do better than expatriates, better than the people who have white skin, I expected a lot more to follow my footsteps. And that is what I was hoping for. But did it happen to the extent I hoped and Sri Lanka hoped? No, it didn't.
People look up, but they don't follow.
They all were convinced that Sri Lankans can do better than foreigners. But how many, young guys were able to, repeat what I did. So as a nation, we have failed. So that's where Sri Lankans, have to improve on. And it's not about just education only. Education is the foundation, but you need heck a lot of skills, new skills, to be able to challenge the rest of the world. We need to change. So it's a different mix in terms of capacity, capabilities people need to have, and the younger generation certainly needs to understand that, embrace some of these attributes that you need to be able to challenge the rest of the world.
Exactly. And we've got around 20 minutes to go, but before that, we got to play one of your favorites, and you said that there is a story behind this song as well. I Just Called to Say I Love You by Stevie Wonder.
I'm a beautiful evergreen song. You might agree, might not agree.
I agree.
We represent two different generations. So the
if you call it evergreen, there's a reason why you call it evergreen.
I call it. Yeah. So I was, forcing that on you. Sorry about it. So Richard Marx is a different, singer, and he actually visited Sri Lanka. And I had the opportunity of being in the audience when he performed, and he doesn't use that many instruments. He uses either the piano, or the keyboard, or the guitar. So it was a wonderful experience, and the entire audience in this auditorium was, kind of frozen when he was singing this song. It's a
Right Here Waiting.
Right Here. Yes. So that one, and the song that will be played is
I just called to say
I love you. So that is sorry, I got the name mixed up, right?
Yes. So do you want me to play Richard Marx?
Richard Marx.
Okay, so let's have a go with the specific song. And I have a fact about this song as well, Krishu. I don't know if you know. But Richard Marx wrote this in literally 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Right Here Waiting.
He actually
it's a letter.
Narrated that story as
really?
well.
Okay.
He's a super performer in terms of engaging the audience.
Yes.
Right? He doesn't just come on stage and sing. He talks about things, and he gets the audience to emotionally get connected. So that's the beauty of him. And when the younger generation, the modern performers think that you go to have 20 different instruments to make a mark,
he has his voice.
He has his voice, and it's his presentation.
No autotune, nothing.
Yeah, nothing. Beautiful one.
So this is gonna be a beautiful song by Richard Marx, and I heard that he had to write this for his then wife.
Yeah, that's right.
Cynthia Rhodes.
Yes.
And let's have a listen to this lovely ballad. Right Here Waiting. Well, that 10-minute song was a #1 hit for Richard Marx.
It is, yeah.
And I think one of the most requested as well whenever he performs.
Of course, yes.
So having that beautiful ballad, I think we're going to move on to a very, very important question, Krishu.
Okay.
Because, as a leader with strong background in marketing, now given the situation of the country, let's talk a little bit about the trends or changes in marketing strategies do you believe will be crucial in the coming years in the country?
So, number one is that consumers are well informed, they are very intelligent, and they are analytical, right? So, whatever product or service you market, you got to ensure that there is tangible value, right? Value that consumers can actually touch and feel. But at the same time, you have to also understand that we live in a brand-driven world.
Of course.
People do not buy products anymore, they buy brands.
They buy feelings.
They buy feelings, they buy emotions. And they want association. So that's another factor. So the difficulty is how do you balance the two, right? Now I can see the phone you're using, and I conclude that you are a weak consumer as well. And I am a weak consumer too, because I am using the same phone or similar phone, whatever. And when I have spent a few lakhs to buy this brand and this phone, and to serve the purpose, to get what we expect out of a phone, you and I could have spent 30,000, 35,000. So I just took that example. Hope you don't mind, right? To explain the point that marketeers, people who do brand communication, have to balance between value and perceived value. So that's not easy, right? And that balance differs from category to category. It's not the same balance. If it's a technical thing other than the phone is a show-off, right? If this did not have the the brand visual that it has, you wouldn't have used it, I wouldn't have used it. So we are trying to show off. I mean, less
simple terms.
That's what it is. That's the reality. You and I can't, move away from. But there are other, technical products, where the functionality is extremely important, and to that you got to add, perceived value. But there are other products and services where functionality doesn't really matter, right? It's the image association. For example, a eating place. We see, other than, these global brands and locally very powerful brands, there are restaurants that are mushrooming. One place will say, I have this great pizza. They have no background whatsoever, but they're being able to come up with a pizza which other places have not been able to, put out. And a couple of people go, they find it to be good, and it goes into social media, and then it goes around. There is a vibe that is created, and then that place will be full, and there are a number of places in and around this station, right? So that's purely emotional. And whether they'll be able to survive.
And a trend.
It's just a, short-term trend could be. But some of them, later find the real art and science, and they then, keep sustaining the brand. So the difficulty is that. So how do we, while offering real tangible value which people can benefit from, talk to the heart to create that perceived value? And it's a very, very competitive world, fiercely competitive. Every single service or product has numerous alternatives. And therefore, getting that right balance and communicating effectively in a manner where the consumer will accept your story as being credible and the best demands in a lot of creativity. So it's about creativity that keeps evolving. It's not, coming up with creativity and depending on that created creativity for, many years. It doesn't happen that way. So it's creativity every minute, every hour, every single day, every week, every, month and annually, right? So these are the things. So now, this knowledge that you require is not something you can get out of books. It's not something that you can, get out of experience and experience only. You need something more, which is difficult to explain, but the wisdom that you build in you, the instinct you build in you, which other people will not have. And that, horizon expansion is something, that has to happen. So you got to be extremely vigilant. You got to keep understanding human behavior, how it changes on a daily basis.
Yeah, you're not the same person you were in probably a day.
I probably when I met 10 years ago and you weren't the same, I wasn't the same.
Exactly.
Right? We are two, we may look the same. I look, of course, much older, but you look the same. I'll
accept that as a compliment. Thank you.
It is. So, but then we have evolved. And 10 years ago, you would have thought, you were good. But today, when you look back, you might think, though I thought I was good, I was only, 50%.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
So I feel the same. Right? Now, after this, I am going to spend a couple of hours with a girl who have been brought up in a nice environment, with utmost love by the parents and all of them. And she needs to get out of it. She needs to explore the world. She needs to be independent and very confident. So since this morning, I have been thinking about that as to how I am going to approach this girl to plant a seed that she has to change because she thinks that she knows everything, probably. She might be listening to this also, or she might, listen later if there is a way. But what I'm saying is, that is the realization. So, the reason why I took that as an example is to say that people keep evolving, people keep changing. Right? So it's a tremendous challenge. So it is therefore brand positioning on a daily basis. Keep aligning and realigning. Keep shaping and reshaping. So that's the game that you go to play. So for one to be able to do that, just creativity only doesn't help. Creativity will be matched. So it's creativity that you are not well conversant with today. It has to be, something different. So it is a humongous challenge, and brands that have understood, this philosophy, this concept, this reality, are the ones, that keep performing.
Exactly, and it's about observing as well all the time, and obviously. You can't just, if you succeed at a certain point, and then you can't just let it go at that point, because you need to keep evolving, as you mentioned. So I think that's some good advice for all the budding entrepreneurs out there and aspiring entrepreneurs who are listening in, and maybe I hope the girl is listening in as well.
So one thing to add, since you had the remark, which is beautiful, just keep learning on a daily basis. Right now, you know what you know, but I have another record in Sri Lanka, that is, I am the only business leader, probably the only, out of all the professional writers also, I have being able to maintain a column in a national English newspaper for 13 long years. We talked with Krishu Gomes in the Sunday Observer, right? Now, I've been doing that for 13 long years, right? So, why do I do that? I don't need to do it, actually, because I'm known and, people know me. But I do that to challenge myself every week to come up with an idea which is different, which is not spoken about, which is not in theory books. So I keep looking for new things that I do not know, right? And then, of course, I deep dive into that area. I come up with a, kind of insight, and then I, of course, write that down. So it's important that you keep developing yourself day in, day out, for which people say, okay, learn from role models. I'm saying learn from every single human being on the earth.
Agreed.
You have things to learn even from a beggar who's begging on the road. You go to a ordinary, polar market, there'll be people who are doing that beautifully, better than others. And if you can embrace some of those, attributes, you can, win in whatever you do much better. So learning everywhere. So there's tremendous learning from the time you wake up till the time you hit the bed. Right? The question is, are we actually learning by seeing?
Are we just self-satisfied?
We see, and you use the word observe. Are we observing? We see, but we do not observe. Because we do not observe, we don't know what to get out of it.
Exactly.
And therefore, we don't know how to change ourselves.
That's some good words, I'd say.
Thank you.
And it was a very fruitful and inspiring coffee hour with you. Thank you so much, Dr. Krishu Gomes, for being a part of the show.
Thank you, Sharifa. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you, SLBC, as well. I'm always raising my hands whenever I get an invitation, from SLBC, not just from English service only, single
Never
service
fail to do
as well. So coming back to SLBC is like, going back home, or coming back home, whichever the way you want to, refer it. But it's lovely, and this place has tremendous potential, tremendous value, and I'm hoping that this place will, go from strength to strength.
Let's observe.
Let's observe and then make those changes that are required to be that, star station back again in Sri Lanka.
Fingers crossed, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, and all the best to all the listeners. Have a wonderful day.
The Coffee Hour. Welcome to Coffee with our morning host. We broadcast a host of programs like current topics, newspaper headlines, and music on Radio Sri Lanka. Tune in every weekday from 7 to 8 a.m.